Hey, welcome back. Another video follows this introduction. I don't want to hang around too much, but let's just say my orbital sander, after being stored underneath a cupboard for quite a while, was brought out to be pressed into service, and the Velcro pad that you'll know about where you stick the circular sanding discs on fell apart. The foam has completely decayed away, and planned obsolescence nowadays. You have parts of machines that do this. The whole thing's perfectly fine, but the rubber part, you might find it on some of your shoes. If you go look some of the cheaper brands of shoes or fashion boots, things like that, if you keep them for a few years nowadays, the rubber soles might you might notice they're cracking and crumbling away. That's they're wanting you to go buy another pair of shoes or another sander. But let's get repairing and let's see if we can fix this sander up, and maybe that'll give you some ideas for things you can fix around the place too. Okay, catch you next time. This is a Black & Decker orbital sander. I've had this I worked it out the other day, about 13, 14 years. And with these orbital sanders, they come with these discs with the fluffy Velcro on the back of them, and the sander itself has the pointy Velcro on a movable disc. And this is how you put the discs on, but usually the big foam thing doesn't just fall off and come away from the base plastic plate, does it? This is what I call planned obsolescence. I'll just take this sanding disc off. Basically, the rubber is perished to the point where it's let go of you can see the yellow plastic there. It's still a little bit adhered to it, but the plastic itself has basically, what has it done? It's lost its integrity. You might find this with some of your shoes. If they're left in the cupboard too long, the foam will start crumbling away like wet bread. I'm just checking the thickness of this, about 8mm, and this stuff has no integrity anymore, but it used to hold the whole disc on as the sander did a orbital sanding motion, which is pretty intense. So it should have lasted though, because that's what it's built for. Anyway, 11 years, 12 years, it's quite a long time. But I think they want you to throw these away when the rubber starts poxing out like it's just done. They peeled off quite well, but it's just completely no integrity at all. Still a bit spongy. Anyway, the point of the mission today, as you would have heard earlier, was to replace this rubber thing and get our sander working again. These holes take the dust from the sanding area and exhaust it out into a bag. I've got various rubbers, foam, that came in various packaging, and I was looking for one that was thick enough just to use straight off. And you would have seen me squishing the sponge. It has to be sort of soft sponge. So here we go. It looks like I'm going to have to double up the foam, and this foam is a softish foam, so that should suit the purpose. 8mm, yep, that looks about right. Cool. Now I think I'll just cut some circles out, the same shape as the Velcro. The black bit is the Velcro bit. Let's test it again just to make sure the thickness is, yeah, it's about right. Well, I'll test it one more time just to make sure these really proud screw heads are not going to be protruding through. Yeah, that looks good. Spinny, spinny. I keep going back and forth looking for my hole punches. Couldn't find my leather hole punches, which is basically would be a perfect tool for this. There's quite a large one I'm thinking of that would punch holes in this foam no end, but I can't find them. Now what I just did there, I marked where these discs have to be glued together, because it turned out the thickness of the foam varies across the disc. So I've matched up the thick part on one to the thin part on the other, if you know what I mean. So I'll get a uniform. There we go. It has to be opened up like a sandwich. And let's put some glue on these things. F2 glue, F2 contact glue is such a beast that you spread the glue on and let it pretty much dry off for about 20 minutes, half an hour. And while that's drying, I'm not really happy about the back side of this Velcro. Look at this, still a lot of the rubber is adhered to it, but it's sort of slowing off like butter on bread. And here I'm just trying to work out how to get this residue off, because you're not going to glue onto the back of that very well. It's just going to come straight off, especially with the stress involved in the sander itself. My old friend petrol comes along, and my not so old friend glove, so I don't get petrol up my fingernails. 2 gloves even. I'm just thinking this petrol's going to dissolve that rubber residue straight off. Yeah, a little bit of encouragement. Spoiler alert, this process took a long time and I've cut the video quite a bit, so you don't have to sit through the whole thing. And eventually I put that on the flat bench top, which I should have done originally. Dry it off a bit and let's check the residue levels. Put the petrol under there. Let's have a look at this. Dang it, it's still a bit residue. Look at that, you can see it on my hand there. Ugh. Basically, I haven't done quite enough. Put the lid on it. Don't pour that back in, it's dirty. Put it back in the petrol. Ah, petrol on the finger. This Velcro thing has quite a bit of durability because it has to withstand, so I'm not too worried about soaking it in petrol. I was just showing you those two pads are still drying over there. When you push those two pads together, it instantly bonds. The glue is such that it will completely give a good bond, and hopefully it'll stand up to the punishment that I give it with this orbital sander. There we go, this is a little bit more serious. Let's give it a good dry off. Would you believe there's still residue on this pad? A bit more scrubbing. Here is the paint thinner, which is extremely toxic stuff and really does need to be careful around fingers, and don't breathe that in too much. We'll just leave that in the sun to dry. And here we are, the finished product. This is the back side of the Velcro, completely dry. This is some sort of nylon woven, glued together, hardcore pad that is perfectly ready to accept the gluing that it will now undertake. I want a good thick coat of this glue because it's going to have to do a lot of work. Now, as you can see there, I put a whole lot of glue on the bench, so I want to wipe that bench off. And look how beautiful it is. Hardly any disgusting mess left. The pads are dry now, so we can stick them together exactly perfectly on top of each other, and that bonds instantly, so pretty happy with that. It is not coming apart. Of course, we're going to have another layer of glue that's going onto there. Fast forward, there we are. It's nicely covered, especially on the edges. I don't know why, but I thought edges are important. That's going to go on there soon, but I really do have to wait for about half an hour. It says about 10 to 20 minutes, but let's just do half an hour. And that's done. These are the hole punches I was looking for. I've only got one of them. But basically, you can imagine that hole punch, if you bang the end of it with a hammer, it would just chop straight through the rubber and make perfect holes. Now that everything's nicely glued, I'm going to still look for my hole punch. In there. No, couldn't find them. I did find this, however, and it's the size. Maybe I could use a bit of copper pipe. It's a bit big, that copper pipe. But if you sharpen the edge of a pipe up, you can make your own. That's quite large. You can make your own hole punch. I'm deciding to do this. Use this piece of metal, and let's grind the edges down with proper safety gear. No sparks. Immediately I noticed, what the hell's happening? There's no sparks coming off, which I would normally expect when grinding ferrous metals. That's brass. It's very soft brass, isn't it? Being brass, it doesn't take much, and really there's no point grinding it. You might as well just use a file. So gradually and gradually I get the edge I need, so it's a nice sharp smooth tapered edge into the middle where I can just feel it could bite through some rubber. So let's take these weights off and get busy chopping these holes. If it works, let's try it. This is one of the smaller holes in the middle for the screw heads. Brilliant! And that's still left inside the punch, and that's what I get. I'll call it my punch, and that's basically, let's fast forward a bit. I'm checking the edge of this brass. It doesn't need to be a hard metal because I'm only cutting through rubber, so luckily enough I didn't realise that that piece of steel was that piece of metal was only brass, which is a softer sort of material, but it doesn't matter for this application. Here we go. We have all our holes in place. Here's a bit of leftover glue which can't get off. Oh well. Brilliant. Now let's fit it on and just see how it looks. Way too big. It's coming out and hitting the body of the sander itself. A quick trimming. Which needed to happen anyway. And the clearances are all good now. There's a lot of prepping, a lot of gluing happening in this job, so back to the actual sanding disc, which you can see is a kind of yellow colour, and it's quite satisfying. The green Scotch Brite takes all that residue off, back to the yellow plastic, which has got a little bit of texture on it, so I'm quite happy that that's going to glue up quite nicely as well with the F2 contact glue. You can see the action of the orbital sander. It goes around, but it also, the yellow part goes around as well at the same time, so you get a real even sanding motion with an orbital sander like this. I'm going to roughen up the grey plastic, this grey foam where it touches the plastic, so that will bond much better. And just there I was making sure I didn't need to chop out a really big hole in the middle. I will spare you the excruciating process of putting glue all over this. Let's fast forward. After this, 1, 2, 3, and it's done. We'll just leave that to dry. Similarly, let's glue up our sanding disc. Just imagine I'm snapping my fingers. It's done. And that is hopefully the last time I'll have to put the lid on that glue. Just to demonstrate how sticky that is. Got some on my hand and it really is hard to get off. You guessed it, another 30 minutes. Right, I've just got to get out of here, but I realised I forgot to put this thing on here. So it has to be exactly... well, I'll get that glue off there later, that hole. Now, this just has to be put exactly on those screw holes. And it's going to glue immediately. Looks about right. Perfect. And I've got to get out of here, but I think I'm going to try and balance. Oh well, maybe not balance, but oh yeah. Put a whole bit of plywood on there. 2 lead weights. That'll really help that glue down properly. Right, nice one. Bye. Okay guys, welcome back. We've got the sander completely done. Ooh, nice. Very springy. I've got a bit of wood set up here, clamped to the bench, and it has got a little bit of putty on it, which is fortuitous, so that we can try out one of our sanding pads and get that putty off there. Okay, we have to make sure these holes are lined basically, right? So that hardly very good at all. Okay, we'll try again. 2, 3. There we go. That's right. I've got a bit of glue in there that I forgot. But I wanted to get that out first. There we go. Ooh. That was handy. That came out nicely. Let's put that pad back on. Never simple. Okay. Beautiful. I can't find the dust bag for that. Somewhere. I shall find it one day. But for this, don't worry, because all we need is and good. So far that is not falling off like major collapse or anything, so let's try it. Oh my goodness. That is working so nicely. I'll just keep going. Oh, so smooth. That is completely still staying on there. No problem. Okay, look at that, nice as. Completely, ooh, lovely, look at that. Can you hear how smooth that is? Awesome, successful test. Let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.